I just wanted to do a quick little tour of my collage sketchbook. I just use a regular watercolor pad with a spiral bind, so it's nice that it will lay flat. And just do these little 6x6 collages. And the way I do this is that I just put 2 on a page, and I generally even do 2 pages most of the time. And I'll stick with basic color themes, or I'll limit my colors to probably no more than 3 or 4. And then I'll just pull some papers and some materials. The things like this and these sorts of papers are papers that I create by myself with my jelly plate. So I'll either use stencils, or I'll just brush things on, or I'll do full color things or stamp things. So I just have a stack of my own collage papers that I like to use. The idea with these is to create things that are balanced, have harmony, have white space. I like to play with different layers of things and see how things overlap and how different patterns work together, different mark making, as well as, other collage materials I may have. Using, smaller patterns and larger circles, solid areas. The other thing I like to do is do, like generally one larger piece or 2 larger pieces and some smaller pieces, so that there's some variety, not only in the size and color and pattern, but also hard edges versus much softer edges, or more, torn edges, which are quite interesting. The next couple of pages were really focused on using, I got a new stencil that had these different size numbers on them. So I wanted to incorporate those somehow a little bit more graphically into doing some collages. I just worked on sort of layering, hidden, some more clear, just to get that interplay of visually sort of hiding things, even though, your mind will fill in, those numbers, because our minds are really good at doing that. And I like to play with that idea of making things not so obvious. Here's the second set for those. Here I left a little bit, I think I left a little bit more white space, a little bit much more interesting negative space, and added in some pops of the complementary color orange. This also has the blues and greens, but it's a much more muted palette, in that the colors are more subdued. I also like to play with type and typography a bit, so I pulled in some other text and other materials that had some different elements that were more typographical. And you can still see that circle motif. I'm kind of in the circle motif a lot with collage pieces. This piece was started with these black floral stamps, I guess is what they were. And I really, really liked the nice organic look that it had. So I thought I would try doing some little collages utilizing that to see how that would look. And so I pulled in some orange and brown just to make it more autumn type feeling. This was actually done in November, so I was probably thinking autumn at that time of the year. And then I had some papers that I had just done some basic marks on with markers, and added that in as maybe reminiscent of other sticks or twigs or branches that you might see. Here's the second page for that. This one's a little bit cleaner. I left the marks out, and these are much more tight compositionally. Nice negative space, a little bit more subdued with the print from the leaf and brush, and a little bit more focused on the larger shapes. The primary focus here was using this black. I had this full sheet of this black paper that I did with these metallic little dots on it. So I kept with the circular theme, but obviously still jagged edges. This was some old gift paper that I had that I added in, and added in a few other little elements just to keep it interesting. The third and fourth versions of using those same materials. Added in a little bit more over the collage piece after I put all the piece in with some paint. Went back in with acrylic and added in a little bit more texture with some stencils. The leaf here, I added more color. And you can see that, you know, it doesn't get super clear over solids, but it does create a fairly semi-transparent, which is really nice when you like to layer things. And again, I was thinking fall probably here. I probably did these about the same time. The second version of using that sort of leaf pattern with the same colors and pieces of paper. This one I had this black and teal print that I had made on my jelly plate, which again was just a texture plate or texture paper that I knew I was going to use in collage. So I pulled that out and was just going to do it in the teal and the black. This actually probably is Payne's Gray or Indigo, this other pattern, so it had a deep blue as well. But I decided to go back and add this really bright green on top of it just to sort of pop it out a little bit. You'll see the second one here is a little bit less of the darker color. This one's got a little bit more of the darker color. And I went to a little bit more of the solid teals, much more white area. Still added the pops of green. This again is back to more of the seascape colors, trying to keep larger shapes and smaller shapes, but adding in, again, some of those typographical elements with magazine pages, and I had a stencil that has some lettering on it. The next couple are my experimentation with more color, much brighter, much warmer type of look. I had created these collage pages where I think I had just had a whole bunch of watercolor colors that I just kind of dumped on a deli page and just let dry, so it was like this whole rainbow of colors. And I was trying to figure out how I could use those in a collage and not have it look overwhelmingly too colorful. So I added those with just some other really simple patterns and just kept things with the colors that were there, mostly with a little bit of oil pastel fun circle marks over that. Here's the second page for that. Added in some other textures, a little bit more white space, a little bit less busy. This one definitely is a little bit tighter compositionally. We're back to the more neutral colors. I really like the yellow ochres and the raw siennas and the tans with black. I must have still had this paper out and decided to do another couple of versions with the black paper with the dots on it. So there's a couple here. This one I came back and added a few more marks with some oil pastel. And finally I have one where I was probably in more of a musical theme. Maybe I was listening to something in the studio, I don't know. But I started out, you know, thinking I wanted to incorporate the music notes and pages and staffs in here, and thought it needed these big bold marks to kind of give it, I don't know, to me it seemed like it was kind of rhythmic to have those big marks in there, you know, with the bold strokes. They're probably a little busy, but I do like the colors, so it's possible I may try this again with, you know, with these colors and some of the same collage materials to see if I can simplify them just a little bit. And that's it. That's my collage sketchbook from last year. Thanks for taking the journey with me, and I'll see you in the next video.